Well, next on the program, our next story might be difficult to hear for some listeners. A Winnipeg firefighter is being remembered as a dedicated father and a loving husband who bravely served our community. Family and friends say Preston Heinbigner died by suicide earlier this month. He was only 40 years old. This has prompted calls for more mental health supports for first responders. His friends and former co-workers want the city to recognize that he died in the line of duty. Dale Gagne and Kent Guerin are both longtime firefighters. They were close friends with Preston, and they're in to remember him and for a call to action about what the reality is like on the job. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here, and my deep condolences to both of you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. This is something that can affect a person on a personal level, but then also, a colleague and a friend. There's lots of layers here. Yeah. Dele, you posted on Facebook that you were friends with Preston for like 20 years. Mm-hmm. You said, what was he like as a friend? And then I'll ask you as a firefighter, what was he like as your friend?
Yeah, Preston was one of those guys. He was a salt of the earth type of person that touched everybody that he met. I was his close friend, but seeing his relationship, the way he treated people, that is what made Preston super special. He didn't just treat his friends like gold. He interacted with anybody that he saw. For example, even the people at the butcher shop knew him by name, and he knew them as well. He took the time to make everybody else feel special, and that's a quality that Preston it was unbelievable.
Ken, you've been nodding along. Maybe I'll ask you what he was like as a colleague and a firefighter. What was his dedication to his work like?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Dedication to work. He was something special. He was one of our pillars in our community for us, especially on 3 shift. He was the type of guy that he said good morning to everybody. How are you doing? He put everybody before himself.
He checked in with other people.
He checked in with everybody. He's concerned with how everyone's doing. And whether it was your first day on the job or you're about to retire, Preston asked, how are you doing? And welcome to the job. And he took his time for everybody.
I mentioned LA, he was 40. He had a small child, right?
Yes. So he was so proud to be a dad. All these times he would be texting, asking questions about recipes and how he could be a better dad, and just always concerned about his family, his wife, who's also expecting
right now. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So,
Ken, a tough exterior kind of a guy as well, maybe kept struggles to himself. Is that accurate?
Preston was pretty much Matthew McConaughey, is exactly what I described him. He was charismatic, highly intelligent. He made everything look easy. Work was easy. Life was easy. There was nothing difficult for the guy. Like I said, he was the type of guy that if he was in the room, everyone was paying attention. What does Preston have to say? And everyone was drawn to him. Like, I've been here my whole life in Winnipeg. He's moved here from Saskatchewan, and he has 10 times more friends than I do already, right? So that's the type of guy Preston was.
Dele, how is the community banding together right now to help his family?
Yeah, so the amount of support that we've seen since Preston passed has been amazing. People are rallying to support Shada through a GoFundMe page right now. I hope that you guys can post a link on your website. The firefighting community has been banding together to try and prevent this from happening in the future, right? We need to check in with each other more. We need to be there for each other more, and that's what Preston did, and that's what Preston would want for the future.
How's it been, Ken, for you to cope with what happened to him, given what kind of guy he was, as you've described?
Oh, it's been incredibly difficult for me. My wife mentioned to me, she says, I've never seen you cry. And with Preston, you can't help it because he's such a huge part. Well, he was one of my best friends. So obviously knowing his struggles throughout the years and our personal talks we're having with the pain he was going through, with PTSD and everything, it was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. And just finding that I've been talking to friends, that's really helped, being open about how I feel about it. And, just sort of trying to walk through it and try to understand. And talk with the coworkers and tell them, it's okay if you're struggling to don't be embarrassed. Come out. That's the best way to handle it. Don't keep it to yourself, because it's something that you just can't fight on your own. You got to seek help. And I do believe our union is pushing for improvements with our job. I believe, right from the top down, from the chief all the way down to the bottom guy, I think there's going to be changes. I think they want changes. Everyone's being more open about it since I've been talking to the guys too. I've had quite a few guys private message me saying, thanks for reaching out and talking to everybody. It made a big difference for me. Somehow I'm keeping this interview together right now. Most of the time I'm not doing very good. And the guys are texting me like, thanks for coming out, talking, and opened up. I'm going to get help now. So
if I understand that there's sort of a feeling that this is a moment in Winnipeg, where a moment almost like, please don't let me put words in your mouth, but if this could happen to Preston?
It can happen to anybody. Preston was a strong, strong character. Like I said, he made life look easy, and kind of like a Robin Williams, always had the right comment to say at the right time.
It's a call to action.
Call to action, yeah.
So, Dale, the call specifically is for his death, your friend's death, to be labeled a line of duty death. Can you tell me a little bit more about why that distinction is important?
Well, the line of duty death is used for firefighters that have given their life the ultimate sacrifice, usually in a fire or serving their community. But there's no doubt that Preston's death was attributed to what he saw on this job. This job is not easy. This job takes a lot out of us. So the line of duty death will assist Preston's family in getting some benefits that they require, and honoring Preston's memory and his legacy.
Ken has already alluded to the fact that there were just, he was talking to Preston and understood, as described, that he was dealing with, some trauma and having challenges with coping. What is the stigma like, Dele, of seeking mental health support? And would you say that it's harder for a firefighter or first responder because of whatever's been built up there in the culture? For better or worse, there's a reality there, I guess.
Of course, yeah. Well, we're supposed to be strong, right? All of us go on the calls, and we go to help people. So it's not in our nature to seek help, right? We're the ones doing the helping. And so when somebody is struggling, it is a bit of a hurdle to be forthright and say, yeah, I'm not okay. And I think Preston tried to do that, but he wasn't really comfortable in being completely honest, which is the sad part, right? We loved him so much. And the fact that he felt that he couldn't be forward and be honest with his tight friends, never mind, the job, is really a tragedy. And moving forward, we need to take steps in changing that and making sure that, because there are a lot of people struggling. Preston wasn't the only one. So these people need to know that, if somebody comes forward, that they'll have their backs. There's there's nobody that's going to judge or criticize.
How long have you been a firefighter yourself, Dele?
Yeah, I've been a firefighter since 2006.
Okay, many years. Ken?
Excuse me, 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
So my math is right. That's 21 years.
Yep.
What do you want people to understand in the context of Preston's death about what it's like to do this job?
Well, for Preston specifically, I got the opportunity to work together with Preston on the same truck for the last 4 years. We're stationed together at one station downtown, and it's no secret, suicide rates are up, and we're dealing with that constantly, and the drug use, etc. I think that's a problem worldwide, not just Winnipeg specifically, but for Preston, he was the type of guy that he cared about everybody so much, even people he didn't know, he wanted them to get better. So I think that these calls they just took a toll on him, and I know they did because he told me. And he's just having a hard time. He truly wanted everyone to be better. And meeting his parents, they're from Saskatchewan, so we got to meet the parents recently too. And you can completely seeing their stories that they've been sharing about Preston for the last 20 years.
Did he carry the people that he tended to on shift with him? Did he carry all of that? And then were the problems increasing?
Yeah, it just piled up on him, and it's kind of like a boiling pot of water where he just couldn't keep that lid on anymore. And we never saw the passing coming. We would never think that, because Preston was the type of guy that just carried it well. He would never let you know.
What is the reality for you guys out there right now, and some of the things that you see, Dale?
Well, the drug use has increased. Like, the calls in the last 5 years have changed. The opioid epidemic, the drug use, the violence, it's we call it a war zone. It is like that. We go on shift and you do call after call after call where you see things that are not natural. And
like what? Can you give us an example that's going to be radio appropriate? And this is in the context of understanding that you're there to help people. This is not to stigmatize the people that have problems. But when we're trying to understand the kinds of things that you're seeing a lot more of, and I mean...
Specifically, the suicide rates are high. So we do deal with a lot of suicides.
Yeah.
And then overdoses, right? You go on scene, the person is either on the cusp of death or, just very close. We have to bring them back. And to do that multiple times per shift, it weighs on you. Multiple
times per shift, you're either there when someone's dying, or you're trying to save
4 or 5 times a day. That used to be like when you first started, it was 4 or 5 times, maybe a year, and now it's consistent. It's consistent across the board. I'm not an expert. I don't know what's happening. I can't touch on it. I don't know how to make things better. But reality right now is that's what's happening to us. So
that would have been Preston's reality as well. You said you were in the same truck for 4 years with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you want the public to take away from you coming out this morning and remembering your friend and fighting for the supports moving forward? What message do you want to leave people with today, Dale?
The message is we cannot have Preston's death be in vain. That's why we're here today. He cannot have died for nothing, because we need changes. We need more support. We need more mental health resources. What we have in place is a good start, but so many changes need to happen from the top down, whether it's with more support, but just also just creating less stigma. And like Ken said, we're not experts. We see the people suffering, and we need help.
Ken, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think everyone involved wants improvement. I know the chief wants improvement. I know our union wants improvement. I think that guys in general now, unfortunately, because it was a guy like Preston who was so well respected, so loved, unfortunately now, the only positive thing is that there is going to be changes, because Preston has so much impact on everyone's lives. And I think everyone's seeing that. So if anything good could come in, it's just, let's get over the embarrassment, especially I know people are suffering, period, with mental health and general life, divorces, things happen. But for us in particular, as firefighters, people look at us as we're strong. And we are for the most part, but if a strong guy like Preston can suffer, it's okay for everyone else too as well. Not to be embarrassed, talk about it, get help.
There's strength in talking about it.
Oh, 100%.
Doesn't take away your strength. It actually adds to it.
Yeah.
Both of you, thank you for your service. Thank you for remembering your friend, and thank you for being here.
I appreciate that.
We have more coverage on this story today. We've been in studio live in Studio 15 at CBC with Dale Gagne and with Ken Guerin. They're both Winnipeg firefighters. They're calling for more mental health supports and to end the stigma surrounding mental health after the death of fellow firefighter, other friend who died by suicide earlier this month. He was 40 years old. He will be remembered, Preston, in the legislature, and also this afternoon, I should mention, the union, Tom Billis of the United Firefighter Workers, the United Firefighters, Union will be on with Up to Speed for a full interview this afternoon to respond to this. And a reminder, if you or anyone else is struggling, please know you can dial 988 from any phone in this country to reach the suicide crisis line. I want to as well mention that we did reach out, CBC did, to the city for comment on Preston's death. In a lengthy statement to CBC, it reads in part, quote, "The Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service is committed to the health, safety, and wellness of members. We were saddened to learn of the passing of one of our members. Our thoughts continue to be with their family and loved ones at this time. And in a collaboration with the UFFW, we have been working to support the family and will continue to do so," end quote. As for a ruling in his line of duty death, it says that the designation is determined by the Workers' Compensation Board, and we are seeking more compensation. Not compensation. We at CBC are seeking more clarity on what that actually means. And so we'll continue to stay on the story from that perspective as well. It is 2 minutes to 8. Heather Wells is here with other updates.